Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, to tuning in through our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Excited to welcome to our program today Tara Niami. We're going to talk to her not only about what it's been like for her to do what she loves when it comes to the arts, but also she's about to make her debut as a cinematographer with the new film I Without a Face. We're going to talk to her about that experience and also about the film for those who are just hearing about it and let you guys know how you can stay connected for all the great things going on with her and the project. Tara, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Tara, it was really fun for me when I was prepping for your segment because just this summer you reposted a discussion you had with yourself and your parents from 10 years ago. Where you were talking about your love of the arts and photography. What has it been like for you to see how this all began for you, Tara, and where you are now in 2021?
That's so funny. I totally forgot about that. I've been a part of the arts for a long time. I got into photography in high school. I had a really incredible mentor and learned how to use a darkroom and got really interested in that. But I grew up around film. My father, Niami, who directed this movie, I Without a Face, had me around him on film sets when he was making his indie films and exposed me to a lot of great movies growing up. So I was always surrounded by film and kind of eventually thought, I want to be a part of this. So, I've been making images since I was in high school, and I've been working in film for the last several years and attended graduate school for cinematography not that long ago. I graduated in 2017 from AFI Conservatory.
Yeah. And now here you are with this film, and as I said, we're going to get more into I Without a Face. It was interesting watching that interview because even your mom talking about, your love of the arts, and you even talking about going back to 12 years old, Tara, and what it was like for you even, being able to, to see art. Do you think just in some form or fashion, even if you had not gotten into photography, even if you did not now become a cinematographer, that the arts in some way would have influenced what you chose to do with your life?
Yeah, definitely. I was making art since I was a kid, basically, since I could draw. I did drawings and watercolor paintings as a kid, and I've just always been really passionate about the arts, and I feel really grateful to have grown up in a household with parents that encouraged me to pursue the arts, and I'm grateful to have gone to schools, even, my public elementary school and then the high school I went to that had arts programs and after-school things where I was able to express myself creatively. So, I can't imagine myself not being an artist, to be honest. It's what I love to do in life.
Let's talk about the freedom that comes with it, Tara, because, I'm also a visual artist, and that's how I first, here in Mississippi, people got to know me from my visual art and my poetry. I've always felt like it is not only a great expression, but I've always thought art is a great way to communicate and to build bridges. Has that kind of been part of your experience as well, that people have connected through the art?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see that as the case, whether it's how I've connected, literally gotten to know other filmmakers and artists through my appreciation of their work, or how I have connected with people through mine, and then also just I love creating things that can, emotionally impact people and give them a different perspective on the world or life. And I think filmmaking is amazing because it can build empathy and compassion. And I feel like, especially during this time of the past year or so, I think for a lot of people when we've been isolated and haven't had that connection, watching TV and watching movies and stuff and looking at art has been a way to just see stories being told and then connect with other people through the art that we're absorbing. And, I just think it's super important. The arts are really, really important for so many reasons.
Right. And we who are creatives, I think, it is a balancing act for sure. I promise you I'm not stalking you, Tara, but you made a great post on Instagram on June 17th talking about your reflection and about imposter syndrome. It's something we've talked about on this program because I have felt that myself at times, kind of looking at my own journey and where I am and where the shows are going. But I love the fact that in that post you talk about, for you, it really is about the art. So I think it's a great segue from that post to where we are now with Without a Face. Do you find that when you're able to express yourself, that is success for you, that a project like this, being able to be seen by people literally around the world, that is success more so than a dollar amount?
Yes, definitely. I think the journey of this film has been a challenging but an exciting one, and that it will be out super soon. It's coming out in the U.S. and Canada on August 10th. Is so exciting, and the attention that we've gotten about it has been awesome, and it just feels really affirming after all the hard work that I and Ramin and everyone put into it to have our film seen. So definitely I think success, it's more about your work being seen and people connecting to it. But imposter syndrome is something I struggle with, and I think can be made more so with social media because, everyone wants to share their achievements and show what they're working on. And as a cinematographer, it's common to be posting behind-the-scenes photos and, I just shot this and stuff. And in the past year or so, the pandemic, things shutting down, being unemployed, and then restarting, but everything being extra difficult, it just, I personally was feeling this struggle of the pressure of, am I achieving enough? Am I creating enough? Am I doing enough? And I had a number of conversations with my highly experienced, highly impressive mentors that have all dealt with imposter syndrome, both in the past and now. So it's unfortunately, it's a common thing, but, you work through it. And feel affirmed by, things coming out and people responding to it positively feels really good.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about your role with this because I want to kind of break it down for our audience, Tara. I want to first say for those who are just tuning in, though, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Tara Violet Niami to our program today. We're talking with her not only about her own journey to doing what she loves when it comes to the arts, but also, of course, her being not only an award-winning photographer, but also a cinematographer as well. Now, for our audience out there, only because I've been hosting the show, I don't know if I would know otherwise, Tara, to be honest with you, but, they're used to titles like producer, director, director of photography either. Talk to them about what a cinematographer does.
So a cinematographer, which is called sometimes a director of photography, or for short, DP, is kind of what it sounds like. They're in charge of the photography of the film. So our role is to translate the director's vision into visuals. So it's both an artistic and a technical job. Basically, the way that the camera moves, the lighting, the colors of the images are something that we are crafting to tell a story visually. So it's a really close collaboration with the director who, has this vision of the story they want to tell and the way they want it to look. And we kind of translate that into, actual images. And, it's a really cool job.
Yeah. So what was it like for you, not only, of course, making your debut as a cinematographer on Eye Without a Face, but doing it with your father?
It was very exciting. It was a new experience. It's my first feature film as a cinematographer, so going from the short form to a feature is definitely a jump. But I think it's a great story, and Ramin had a really strong vision for it, so that made it easy for me to kind of get a sense of what the film he was trying to make was, and do my part in cinematography and in helping craft the world with him. So Ramin is indeed my father, and I have been working with him in various ways since I was younger, including on scripts where he had young female protagonists because he wanted them to be realistic, and being that he was not a teenage girl, he wanted to get the perspective of a teenage girl, for example. But this is my first time shooting his work. So
wow.
Honestly, it was really cool because we kind of see eye to eye on visuals, and he brought me up with a lot of film history knowledge, which I could pull from for this. And I would say in general, Ramin is a very collaborative filmmaker, so he welcomed the ideas that I had and didn't, see me as less knowledgeable simply because I'm younger and less experienced. He respected and respects my work and was interested to hear what I had to say and what I could bring to the work.
Yeah. As you mentioned, it's releasing in the U.S. on August the 10th. So for those who are just hearing about Eye Without a Face, I know they have their own Instagram page. Eye Without a Face 21 is where our audience can follow them. We're going to also let you tell our audience a little later, Tara, how they can stay connected with you. But how would you describe Eye Without a Face to people who are just now discovering it?
So Eye Without a Face is a psychological horror and thriller film, emphasis on the psychological, because it's kind of driven by the emotion and mind of the character. It's about a hacker who has hacked into the webcams of various young women in L.A. He lives in L.A., and he sees himself as a guardian angel watching over them, and he starts to suspect that one of the women he watches, Laura, is killing people. And basically it's about that, and his roommate, who's like a YouTuber and a struggling actor, tries to encourage himself to get out of the house and out into the world, and things kind of go wild from there. So it's through the perspective of this hacker, basically, and what he is seeing.
Yeah. Do you still have those wow moments when you kind of think about what's about to happen in a few days and about someone being able to see your work, Tara, but also knowing this is just the beginning?
Yes, I'm feeling that right now. It's very, very surreal. And the fact that the film is about to be out is amazing, and it's going to be on all major streaming platforms in the U.S. and Canada, and then is later coming out in the U.K., and is currently showing in Eastern Europe through HBO there. And it's pretty surreal that this indie movie that we made is going to be seen in various parts of the world by a lot of people. So I am definitely in that moment right now.
Let's talk about the collaborative effort for a moment. And I guess what I mean by that is surrounding yourself with a support system. And because I talk about this a lot on this program, Tara, because I understand not everybody is fortunate enough to have people to pat them on the back and say, keep going. You got this. Don't give up. There are some people, unfortunately, that are getting the opposite of that. How important has it been for you and your journey to get you to this point, from the young woman we saw in 2011 in that video to where you are now in 2021, to surround yourself with people who push you but also encourage you?
Yeah, so obviously I'm incredibly grateful to have had the support of my parents and Ramin I worked with, but also the community of artists and people in film, especially, well, honestly, both younger and older people. I think I feel extremely grateful that the moment that I sort of transitioned into cinematography and started really working in film, I was humbled by the openness and kindness of people who've been doing it for a long time to be friendly and mentoring me and give me advice and sort of affirm me that, I'm going to be able to achieve things and I will have a future in this. And because it's a very hard job, and as an artist, you're always questioning yourself. So what I meant with that imposter syndrome post is like, even internally, even though I love what I'm doing, sometimes I wonder if I'm good enough at it, you know, like these impossible standards. So having mentors, having friends, other filmmakers and DPs that we lift each other up, we literally recommend each other for jobs, and we're always, you know, giving each other advice, looking at each other's work. It's so crucial. And so I think it can be hard, but I always encourage people to find their people. And I know for me, even though social media is a complicated place, that encountering people virtually on social media, exchanging messages and stuff, I've met some amazing people and connected to people, you know, very different than me who have really engaging perspectives and ideas to share. So I encourage people like to seek that out when they don't have it immediately around them, because there are other people out there who will support you, basically. If you put out like good energy and are passionate, you'll find those people.
What a great thing, and what a great thing. I'm so glad that you've been able to have that. Again, everyone, Tara Violet Niami has been our guest. We've been talking with her not only about her journey as an award-winning photographer, but also a cinematographer as well, making her debut as a cinematographer with this feature film, I Without a Face, again, coming out to the U.S. August the 10th. So make sure you guys make a note of that date. I mentioned that I Without a Face has its own Instagram, Tara, but how can our audience stay connected with you and other updates?
So in terms of following the movie, they can read more about it and such at iwithoutaface.com, in addition to the social media platforms. They can follow me at Tara Violet on Instagram. I post a lot about I Without a Face, the other work that I'm doing. And, yeah, all the social media. There's a Facebook page for I Without a Face, and the Twitter and Instagram pages. So it can follow any and all of those.
Okay. Well, Tara, congratulations to you again. Thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate you stopping by the program, and looking forward to having you on the show again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey,
Thanks.
Glad to do it. More than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live, and let's go make today amazing. Take care.